Hey guys, this is Jeff with Fish Creek Capital. We've made it to the end of the week. It is Friday, September 12th. Looking forward to the weekend. I thought I would just go over what we saw this week from a stock perspective, from the market's perspective, and just highlight a few things. We did end up with a positive week again. The NASDAQ notched another new high. A lot of that was from the downward revision on jobless claims that happened earlier in the week, and then also the inline inflation numbers that were favorable on Thursday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then the expectation for the Federal Reserve meeting next week with lowering rates, with the weakening jobs and the tame inflation. There's definitely pretty much a guaranteed 25-point basis rate cut. I don't have the number in front of me for the expectation of a 50-point basis cut. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves there, but definitely we should see a 25 basis point cut on Wednesday. And so another thing that ran the Nasdaq up today and just closed it for it to close at all time highs was Tesla. So you can see that in the chart behind me. So let's just look at it. We'll go as I zoom in left to right. This is a monthly chart, a weekly chart, the daily chart, and then the hourly chart. So the monthly chart, you can see, man, it looks pretty good. It's great green bar for the month of September. As we go over to the weekly chart, you can see that this week was very positive for Tesla. It was as low as 348, and then we closed today at 395, 94. We even saw as high as 396.69. On the daily chart, you can see, man, that it had really the breakout started yesterday. You can see this was Thursday's big green candle, and then Friday we're really extended now above these Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands are this red, the lines kind of that keep all those candlesticks in between, in line there, this red one, and then kind of that purple line. And so you can see when I highlight that green bar from today is very extended. And then the hourly chart, you can just see that Tesla opened this morning. This was like at 8:15 Central Time. The market opens at 8:30. It was down at 370, and so that first hour it just really drove up to 380, 387, and then around midday we see it take a breather and then perked back up at the end of the day and then closed near the highs. So that was Tesla. Again, I talked about Tesla in another video and just Elon's $1 trillion pay package and just how I think that's actually a good thing. It incentivizes management. Elon in this case, over a 10-year period, he would have to grow the company eightfold or 8 times. It's a staggered payout also. So I think that's great. Like capitalism, that's what we want in America. And it could be great for shareholders also. So Tesla's had a great week. It's looking good. This is not investment advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only, and just going over what kind of moved this week. Another stock that moved this week was United Healthcare. Let me pull it up. Here it is now. Let me zoom these in also. And United Healthcare was in the news a few weeks ago with Warren Buffett and just his stake with Berkshire Hathaway, and it has really made a strong move since then. You can see United Healthcare got as low as 234. It would have been definitely on sale at that point. We look for companies that go on sale like this. That United Healthcare is a dividend payer. Here at Fish Creek, we focus on dividend payers and dividend growers, and United Healthcare does have a strong history of dividend payments and dividend growth. You can see as we move over onto this weekly, it bounced right off of that 250 area, let's say, and then the news came out, and then it kind of jumped up and then leveled off, and then had a good week this week. So it was 320s. We know we're closed at 352.51 today, and so United Healthcare again making the move back up. You can see on this daily chart where it kind of gapped up on the 9th. That's actually the 9th, and then took a breather today. It was just down a point, but United Healthcare had a pretty good week, and that's a Warren Buffett investment. Let's go over the S&P. We can do that real quickly just to end the week. Here's the SPX. That's the S&P 500, and you can see ever since the tariff talk back in April, it just spiked down. This is the monthly chart again over on the left, and it just spiked down and then has just gone straight up really. Since then, it just angled up to the right, and you can see that on the daily. Here's that big move down in April, beginning of April, and then it has just trended up since then. That's the weekly chart. Here's the daily. We're at the top of these Bollinger Bands, and then the hourly chart today, we hit 6,600. So anytime you hit one of those round numbers, it's common to see, the market kind of check up at those round numbers, and it did that today. You can see here on this hourly, there's a red bar there that it kind of retreated back some, and we closed at 65.84. So a lot of the bears are looking for the interest rate announcement next week with the Fed to, point toward, will the market, have a pullback, and will that be a catalyst for the market to pull back? I don't know. Nobody knows. Don't try to time the market. Don't try to get in and out. You don't know what's going to happen. You just want to stick to your long-term plan, and we can help you with that here at Fish Creek Capital. We focus on dividend growth again, and dividends, good companies that are with good management, strong cash flow, low debt, and companies that are redistributing that strong cash flow back to shareholders, especially if they're growing that dividend year over year. And there's ways you can find that data. We're not making that up. It's real data. You're not guessing. It's somewhat predictable, and you can use history to predict what the company is expected to do in the future. And it just works. Whether you're rich or poor, young or old, it's a great strategy, and that's why we like focusing on it, because you don't have to worry about these unknowns of next week, like with interest rate cuts and what's going to happen. We don't have to guess. We know what our plan is, and we stick to the plan. So the S&P has been strong. It's looking strong. We'll see what it does here at this 6,600 level, and if the Fed has anything to do with it next week with the interest rates. So final chart will be the NASDAQ here. It closed at highs today, and again, these charts almost look exactly the same. Look how similar they are. There's the monthly. There's that same April dip, and then it just has gone up since. Here's the weekly again, the dip, and then just has gone up. Here's the daily. We are up at highs, 587 on the Qs, which the Qs represent the NASDAQ. The Qs, it's a low-cost ETF. If you're looking for a way to invest in the NASDAQ, don't do a mutual fund. Do something like the Qs. It's much more cost-effective, and it tracks what the NASDAQ is doing because it's made up of NASDAQ companies. So it's a great way to invest in the NASDAQ if you're interested in that. And then today, you can see, again, it looks just like the S&P. We went up and then kind of had a down bar here this afternoon, and then bounced a little at the close. So markets had another good week. We'll definitely go into next week with the Fed as the top event for next week, and just look forward to that, and we'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.